I've been having the most frustrating week this week. It's made me so annoyed that I'm making a rage video about it because I'm just so frustrated and fed up. And it's a real first world problem in a way, and perhaps, hopefully, not one that you're having. But I want to talk about it anyway, in case you're not aware of what's been happening. And I want to show you some of the frustrations I've had. So, in case you haven't noticed already, there have been a lot of issues with NVIDIA's drivers of late. In fact, last week I made a video on how NVIDIA's drivers suck and how to roll back to a previous version if you're having issues with black screening on your PC, where basically if you're running a DisplayPort cable and sometimes HDMI, you sometimes just get black screen monitor. Gamers Nexus also did a video on it, a really in-depth, long one. I just did a short, ragey one because I was fed up with it, and then a sort of guide on how to roll back just in case it was helpful. I have been plagued with this problem a lot recently. And it only really happened, frustratingly, while I was testing the 5090. So once I got the Astral 5090 from Asus, I tested it and everything was really smooth. I decided the best course of action was to take that 5090, use it in my main machine, so then I'd be able to compare the 5090 with the 4090, talk about what the experience is like moving from the 4090 to the 5090, give data on things like how long the rendering time difference is, how much shorter that is, for example, talk about FPS and games that I was playing, the difference of those two sort of things, and other experiences that I might have. What I didn't realize while doing that was that NVIDIA, for some reason, is focused so hard on the 50 series that they just don't care about the older generation of GPUs. So when I had to send the 5090 back and revert to my 4090, suddenly I was finding that games quite often would just crash. My whole screen would just go black. Fans would ramp up to maximum speed. The system would just hang, and you'd have to restart the whole PC in order to do this. Now, this is very frustrating for me because I've been trying to make gaming videos for my gameplay channel, tips and tricks videos for that channel, and also, to be honest, I don't get to play as much as I'd like. So I usually only play on Friday and Saturday with my friends. And if I was trying to play, I was just finding my computer was just crashing regularly. And this hadn't been an issue previously. It was fine beforehand. It was fine before installing the new drivers. It was fine before trying the 5090 out and then going back to the 4090. There were no problems. That issue has since got worse, and a lot worse, despite trying to clean, uninstall, and install older drivers, a variety of different drivers. For example, since I posted those videos, people have said about how 566.36, I think it is, or 566.33, I'm not sure, can't remember exactly, but one of those older drivers is more stable. So I tried that, didn't work. I tried various other ones, they didn't work. The problem's been getting worse and worse as well, to the point that DaVinci Resolve started crashing while I was trying to render videos to be able to upload them, which is why I haven't posted as many videos this week. Really, really annoying problem. Now, not all games did it. Some games would be perfectly fine. I've been playing Easy Red 2, for example, which isn't very taxing. That ran for hours, just fine. But if I tried to play PUBG, Fortnite, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, and a couple of other games, the system would just crash. The screen would crash. My computer would freak out. All the fans ramp up to max speed. It's a big problem. Now, this, I thought, could possibly be other issues. So I've been looking into other things that could potentially be a problem. For example, maybe with unplugging and replugging the graphics card, the 12-volt high power connector is melted. Maybe I hadn't plugged that in properly. You know, I checked all these things, both ends of it, in the strimmer cable, in the power supply unit, at that end. I even swapped the power supply out for a completely different one, thinking that that might be the problem. Thinking the connector wasn't working properly, or there was issues with the power supply. I swapped to a completely different power supply unit. Updated the BIOS on my motherboard. Did a bunch of other testing to see if maybe it was the CPU that was an issue, or if there was some other hardware failure. Stress testing and all sorts. Couldn't find anything that would solve the problem. It's been a nightmare. I also wanted to try sort of similar setup, so I ran a 3090, my old 3090, on a different build, so on a completely different PC, and I came across the same problems. It was black screening on there as well with PUBG and other games, so it's been a really annoying time lately. But it was weird to me that it was getting worse, and it's obviously been a real problem lately as well. So last Friday I made a knee-jerk purchase in a sort of rage of the XFX Radeon 9700 or 9070 XT. Sorry, I'm not up on AMD's naming conventions. It's 9070 XT GPU. So a brand new GPU. It's about £750 sterling, nearly £800. A large purchase to make just because drivers have been causing me problems. Today, I put it into my system, which was a pain in itself. But while doing so, I checked all those things again. So I rechecked the streamer cables, the 12-volt high power connections, the connector on the graphics card, power supply end cables, checking various other things to see if maybe there was some damage or something that might explain it. While I was there, I also fixed one of the fans on my AIO because one of the Lian Li Infinity fans had lost its bearings or something. It made a horrible grinding noise and then just died. So if you see some of the clips behind me, you'll see the fan at the top just isn't spinning anymore. Luckily, I happen to have a spare fan, so I took that time to swap it out. While doing so, I was also changing the fans on the rear, and then I put them on the wrong way around. And so because I've got a push-pull set up on my radiator, I cleaned up the radiator. I swapped the fans on the rear because they were reverse blade fans. I needed to use one of those reverse blade fans from the rear to put it on the front to replace the broken one. But when I swapped the fans around to standard blades instead, because that was all I had spare, I forgot to turn them the other way around, so I ended up with my CPU running really hot when I got back into Windows. So, sort of in a rush to fix one problem, I caused another. But what I can report quite happily is that now, with this AMD GPU in my system, everything's fine, or at least it has been so far. I've played some PUBG for a couple of hours with no problems, no crashes, no issues. I've also managed to render videos. Now, I was getting to a point with the NVIDIA graphics card where DaVinci Resolve would just crash, and it would do that black screen problem almost immediately when trying to render. It had only just started doing that recently, and that was very frustrating. The AMD GPU doesn't seem as fast in rendering videos as my 4090 did, so that's a frustration, but it's a sacrifice I'm willing to make for a stable system. This is my first time with an AMD GPU, at least for a long time. I might have had one a long time ago. So I'm going to do a review video and probably a versus with the 4090 at some point because I think it'll be worth doing. Now, this is a pretty interesting card because it's a magnetic one, so it has magnetic fans that are detachable and just hold on to the graphics card with magnets and some contacts. Pretty interesting. It's also seeming to be running quite quiet as well and was running games at 4K quite capably, so that would be pretty cool. So it's been a hell of a frustrating time. If you aren't having this problem, you're very lucky. And I would highly recommend not updating your NVIDIA drivers if you're running an NVIDIA graphics card. Luckily, both my kids have got NVIDIA GPUs in their systems, and neither of them are having problems. And my friends don't seem to be suffering. One friend was, but the others aren't. So that's great. But maybe they're not doing what I'm doing and swapping out parts regularly. And this is obviously part of my problem. Part of the first world problem is that I was swapping parts, updating drivers, swapping back parts, changing things out, and doing that sort of thing isn't ideal because it means you're leaving files in the registry potentially. I use DDU to do a clean uninstall of the graphics drivers, but maybe some files got left behind somewhere, or maybe there was a conflict that was causing it. Whatever the case, it's been really annoying, and I hope NVIDIA sorts this out because it's very frustrating. And now there's a fly buzzing around in here just to add to the annoyance. Anyway, if you're interested in seeing the content on that new AMD GPU, then stick around because I'm going to be doing that soon. This has been The Provoked Prawn. Thanks very much for watching. You've made it right to the end of the video, you brilliant legend you. If you've enjoyed it, click that subscribe button, give me a thumbs up, and drop me a comment down below if you've got any questions. If you really enjoyed it, consider joining the channel and see the benefits of doing so. Check out these other videos. You might well find them interesting or useful. And most importantly, have a great life.